Thank you for staying with us. There is still no end to the 6-month-old strike by teachers in government-owned universities. At the end of its National Executive Council meeting in Abuja, the Academic Staff Union of Universities failed to issue a statement on its resolution. But a member of the union's NEC confirmed that the strike is now indefinite. Several calls and text messages put across to the president of ASUU, Emmanuel Oshodeke, and other union leaders were not responded to. ASUU began a nationwide strike on the 14th of February this year. The union has rolled over the strike a couple of times before the latest indefinite extension of the industrial action. Government's no work, no pay policy and its non-acceptance of the union's University Transparency Accounting System, UTAS, for payment of salaries are two of the basic grievances of the university teachers. Well, joining us from our studio in Abuja is Professor Hamman Tukur Saad, former Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Technology, Minna. Good morning, Professor. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning, Madam.
Now, let's get your impression of the decision by ASUU to say that this strike is now indefinite after several cycles of perhaps extending the strikes, and now they are saying it's indefinite. What do you make of it?
Well, it's very sad. It's a very sad situation for the country. And, well, I'm a member of ASUU, or I have been a member of ASUU until I retired. And following the history of our development in the universities, it seems universities don't get what they deserve until people go on strike. And this has become a way of life. If before, it's about every 2-3 years, ASUU has to go on strike before universities can get resources to be able to run their services. So it's very easy to heap the blame on ASUU for not opening. But you know, once you start a culture whereby the only way you can get what you are entitled to, you have to go on strike. You know, when we started as lecturers, the issue of strike for academic staff is not there. We were not laborers. We were not coal miners. We were people who had dignity. And you went to university when you are the best and when you have the interests of the country and the students at heart. No, but over the time, the system has made it difficult for university lecturers to cope up, because if you look at their salaries, their allowances, or even the conditions in the laboratories, in lecture rooms, and so on, you know, if you went to university in the 60s and 70s, you will just feel pity for this institution, and yet, you know, it takes a strike before government can ever look at these problems. On the other hand, one of the achievements of ASUU, which somehow they are not making use of, they were able to force government to sign an autonomy bill. Now, this autonomy bill actually moved a lot of the powers from government to university councils. And most of these university councils are mainly ASUU members. Government provides like six people with a chairman. The rest of the members are from inside, and they are all ASUU. So I don't know why people cannot sit down and say, all right, this is the laws of the university. Let's work according to the laws. We can look at each university. We have different laws in university in Nigeria. You know, if you look at Ibadan law, it's not the same as ABU law. Or if you look at University of Lagos. Recently, I had an encounter with them. Their law is different from the one I'm used to in ABU. So, but people believe in this collectivizing everything in the center. When people talk about restructuring in this country, they don't know this restructuring is not only at the federal level. It can happen within your own institution. For example, if you look at university laws, like ABU law I know, there is nowhere the Minister of Education is mentioned. He has no business there. And therefore, when I was a Vice Chancellor in Federal University of Technology, Mina, the 3 ministers I served under, we had clashes. And I told them, look, Professor Osuji, you are a professor, but what you are asking me to do or what you want to do cannot be done. My law does not allow this. And somehow he respected it. And another lady wanted to force me to do something, and she was annoyed, and she left the meeting, and so on. People don't realize how powerful universities are. They go and surrender to government. Instead of sitting down and sorting out their internal problems, whether it's financial or whether it's administrative, and so on. Because even issues of corruption people talk about. Sometimes government puts money and government accuses universities of corruption. And some of these things actually have a basis. Like, for example, I was in a university where government gave us money, DTLC. This is direct laboratory and the consumables. And after ASUU has struggled for it, that when money comes, it goes to the Senate building and is dissipated. It doesn't reach the department. So ASUU struggled and government said, okay, we will have a subhead in your budget, DTLC, which is dependent on the number of students you have or the courses and so on and so forth. And this one should go directly to departments. I was in one university. I was paying my heads of department huge amount of money. I remember Department of Electronic and Computer Engineering, every quarter they were taking 800,000 to run their services. Then I came back to my former university. I found out that head of department, they said they give him 80,000 sometimes in a quarter, 80,000. You know, I said, what happened to DTLC? He said, no, government is not paying DTLC. I called back in my university. I said, well, I left for some time. Please, are they paying this DTLC? He said, yes, they give us DTLC, but not like when you were there. So you can see this kind of thing. And ASUU is always ready to confront government. They do not clean up the problem on the campus. And they don't want to face issues of money. And there's one issue where I don't agree with ASUU. That is insisting that users should not contribute to the education of their children, parents. I mean, the education of your children at high level or even every level should be a concern. It should be a responsibility. But for an organization or government to pretend that they can carry all the load, I think they are not realistic.
Yes, Prof.
And ASUU also insists that there should be no charges, there should be no fees, even if you explain to them how this thing can be done. The children of the poor people, for example, well, they cannot afford, if I say take just 200,000 per annum, that's less than what they pay in secondary school.
Some people have said, Prof.
It's difficult for the son of a farmer. But,
hello?
But there is a provision
Prof.
for education bank. It used to exist. Go to the bank, take this money, pass it to the Vice Chancellor, let him run his services. When you finish, go and work, and they will deduct it. It may take a long time. For example, President Obama did not finish paying his student
Prof, can you
loan
hear us?
until he was
Hello?
president. That is how some countries move forward. You cannot move forward without taxes,
All
or
right.
without contribution from parents.
All right,
If
Prof,
the parent
can you hear
afford,
us?
Let him pay.
Prof, can you hear us?
Yes?
All right.
Okay, Prof.
I hear you.
Yes, I was trying to find out from you. You made a very interesting claim here that the universities are acting like children in feeding bottle, and when they're supposed to act like adults and take care of the universities and come up with ideas. What are the terms of the autonomy given to the universities that they can use to actually take care of themselves?
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead,
If
sir.
you look at the laws, of the university, they list sources of income. Number one is subvention from government. Number two, fees and charges. Number three, businesses and so on and so forth. This thing go on and on to tell you how you can make money. And these laws have not been abrogated, But governments, in their own wisdom, I remember President Obasanjo called all the vice chancellors. He said, Mr. President, can we not charge small money so that this problem will go? He said, no, over my dead body. Not when I'm the president. So politicians, for political reasons, are afraid of imposing charges. And most countries, the countries that have free education at higher level, like people want to quote the Scandinavian countries, do you know the amount of taxes they pay? Some people say over 60%, some of them pay over 60% of their income to be able to afford those facilities. How many people pay tax in Nigeria? Only those of us who are working for government. The rich people sometimes pay community tax. So it's not possible for us to heap all the load on government. And secondly, the problem of relying on government is that when you are getting something for free, now you have students that are in the university for a 5-year course, they will spend 8 years or more because it doesn't cost them anything. Two, of course, they themselves cause crisis and universities are closed. ASUU goes on crisis. And so if you send your son to a university in Nigeria, you just pray he will finish on time. I gave an example some time ago. We had arrangement with 8 universities in America for bilateral arrangement whereby some of their lecturers will come to us. We too will send our lecturers. Some of our students will go on the intern and all this kind of thing. But by the time we came to the crucial matter, say, all right, how about your program, timetable, your calendar? We don't have calendar in Nigerian universities. In the 70s, we had calendar. I know by May, June, exams are finished. Then I will go for 3 months of holiday, and then come back September, October. So you don't have this now. You cannot face an international university and say, let's have bilateral arrangement, because we don't know when SANU, ASUU, NASU, and students will close the system. And the bottom line is money. It's not good to quote my own example. I realized this when I was the Vice Chancellor in Federal University of Technology, Mina. I found, look, I need to take 5 million to 8 million naira every month to pay salaries. Now, I said, all right, what do we do? Because they say they have an envelope, and the government gives you this envelope, go and do what you want, or go and sort it out with your council. This envelope is not even enough to pay your salaries. So As a headmaster, I said, look, who are the beneficiaries of this education? They are the students and the parents. You know, when a country has developed to a stage like we are now, the benefit of higher education goes to parents and children. When we immediately after independence, the benefit of higher education went to the society at large. We wanted to replace white people, we wanted to replace foreigners, we wanted to have a good civil service, and so on. But now, whoever gets his certificate is either checking out to another country to go and work for better pay. So people should understand that they have to contribute to the education of their children. And that is the only legacy you can leave for your children, educated children. You can have so many houses in Abuja, but at the end of the day, if the children don't have good education, they'll be selling them one by one and taking all kinds of drugs. So we and our students, somehow along the line, we agreed, let's have some charges, because we wanted to move from one campus where a facility that was meant for 2,500 people was now catering for 15,000 students. So it's so choked. And we have another campus which was started, could not be completed. So we agreed with the students, we have to move. We have to collect money and we have to move. This government will not give us money because they have a formula. Third generation university, 200 million. Second generation, 300. Fourth generation, 450. So we are third generation. We cannot get money to move. So let's collect money from our parents and so on. And people think that ASUU or students are unreasonable. If you discuss with them, they are very reasonable people, as a vice chancellor and as a council. But the only problem is they want to discuss with government. And VCs want them to go and discuss with government. So, you know, people feel big. You know, I had a colleague who was a vice chancellor of a state university, and he became the chairman of ASUU. I said, what the hell? What has state university got to do with ASUU? How? How? Because the law establishing state universities is made by state assemblies. And you can find some of the laws which says, I read some of the laws, which says the governor can appoint and remove vice chancellor, all the principal officers, and so on. You know, so these are the laws that are in the state university. The Commissioner of Education is in charge. So how do you lump all these different institutions together simply because ASUU likes to take the check off, the check off money from these universities. You can hear recently somebody is accusing chairman of ASUU of insulting state universities. He has no business insulting them. It is the greed of ASUU that brought them in, so that they take money. I don't know what they do with my money. Sometimes I used to pay up to 12,000 naira per month. I don't know what they do with it, other to make. So even that is an issue that government can take them on. But I think,
Professor,
by and large, the two sides.
Professor, let me put you on hold a little bit.
The two sides must agree.
Interrupt you a little bit. It's quite interesting how you're taking us on this journey. But let me ask, there has been meetings upon meetings between the federal government and ASUU. From your own observation, why is it so challenging for both sides to come to an agreement